Alright, straight up, right off the get-go, we don't have any fancy footage here for today, it's just stock B-roll because we're going to be talking about what is possibly one of my favorite origins outside of Shoulders of Giants. It is the Hegemony start. Oh, Hegemon, unlike your common ground brother, you are so much more fun. No such thing as democracy, because you are in fact a person or empire that says how it is. Hegemon cannot be understated with how much fun it is. In addition to this particular playthrough, or at least mechanics video, Common Ground also somewhat applies here. I'm not going to do a separate video about Common Ground because I just think it's not all that great. Hegemon, on the other hand, is. Hegemon, what does it do? Well, you start as a hegemon. I can't pronounce this word. Hegemony? Hegemony. Let's go with Hegemony Federation with 2 additional members. RNGesus will roll the dice. We'll roll up 2 random empires, and they will be with you the entire way. What an exciting time that is. All members will occupy any guaranteed habitable world slots near your home system. So you're going to be losing those guaranteed home system slots, or at least those planetary slots, which is a little bit annoying, but don't you worry, there is a way around this. We'll talk about that soon. And of course, we start with that Federation tradition unlocked. So not only do we get the diplomatic tree unlocked off the get-go, we also get the Federation option. So we get two unity traditions right off the get-go, which is just wonderful. We cannot be Gestalt, we cannot be Xenophobe, we cannot be Fanatic Xenophobe, and we cannot be Fanatic Purifiers and Inward Perfection. Of all of these, not being able to be Xenophobe is the most annoying one, but we can offset all of that stuff with the wonders and beauty of course, authoritarianism. That's right. It's good. It's an empire, of course. Of course we gotta be an empire. It wouldn't be a hegemony without it being an empire. I also went, in this particular case, for Fanatic Militarist. It will make sense later. On top of that, Distinguished Admiralty for a little bit more firepower, as well as that Fleet Command Limit bonus, which I adore. And Diplomatic Corps. Diplomatic Corps is shaping up to be one of the best ethics in the game. It has so much impact, especially if you're going to be playing the Galactic community game. It's so good. The additional envoys is so strong. The additional diplomatic weight. It's basically Fanatic Xenophile, except instead of trade value, we would get just even more diplomatic weight, which is just wonderful. But that's not part of this video at all. This is just how we're gonna set things up. It's all good fun. Let's dive into Hegemon, see what it looks like. So, you start off. It's interesting, isn't it? Yes, definitely is very interesting right off the get-go. The thing with Hegemony is this is a purely mechanical origin. There's no fancy stuff going on here. There's a system in the game, of course, which is the Hegemony, which you can activate. And in this particular case, you get it for free at the start of the game with all the bells and whistles that come with that. Let's take a quick look at our environment. We got our brothers and sisters. We got ourselves some free traders. I believe this is a megacorp. Yes, they are. And we already saw the button there. The button that's going to make sense later on. And of course, we got these hegemonic imperialists. They're also militarist, which is nice. It helps us later on. Oh yeah, Xenophile. Well, the Xenophile is not all that great because of authoritarianism. Anyway, let's take a quick look here at what we have. We are, of course, starting off as the president of the Hegemony. And, well, right off the get-go, we get the modifiers that nobody can leave the Hegemony unless the president gives the approval. That means that as long as you are in power, you can do whatever the hell you want. And that is great because not only do we have our own fleet, we can also rely on the fleets of our brothers and sisters nearby, plus the Federation fleet that they are going to be building for us because we are the leader of this hegemony. Therefore, we should be running the Federation fleet. Don't we? Yes, I think so as well. So this comes with all sorts of hilarious bells and whistles. But first of all, we're going to need to assign all of our envoys to the wonders that is the human friendship sphere. Oh boy, is there going to be a lot of friendship here. Why are we assigning all of these envoys? Well, we want to get to the next level, and specifically level 3 as soon as possible. Why do we want to get to level 3? It has to do with this one. Join or die. One of the best bonuses, in my opinion, that comes with the Federation, for federations in general, really. It's join or die. It gives you a special CB that you can attack an enemy empire, and if they lose, they have to join the hegemony. That's right. Their loss is your strength. Yes, and that's great. Also, it means that at the start of the game, we have 4 fleets. The 2 empires, my own, and the Federation fleet. Early wars have never been this easy. Conquest is guaranteed, but there's a couple of important things we need to do here first. We are going to need to take control of these 2 empires in creative ways. We don't want to annex them. Maybe later, we'll get to that. But first of all, we want to completely lock them off. We want to make sure that they cannot do anything except for having their own system, their own eternalized economy, and just crank out ships. Because with the AI, the higher the difficulty level is, the more resources the AI gets. So the AI can basically build infinite fleets regardless of what you do, which is incredibly powerful. At lower difficulty levels, it's less so, but even then, the strength is still there. Let's jump forward a little bit and see what this scenario looks like and what we do after this. So as you can see, we have effectively locked off these 2 Hegemon empires in between those stars. They've managed to get 3 planets in total. We only have 1, but we're about to get a relic world over here, which is currently being occupied by a wonderful hive mind. Oh, look, it's Arrested Development on their leader. I did not even see that. Still, though, with us locking all of this stuff off, they will need to spend insane amounts of influence in order to get any systems under their control, which basically means that they're not going to be doing any expanding anytime soon. But as you can see, we have a Federation fleet here, which is, of course, called the Second Wave. I don't know why. It's probably because it was from this here empire, but they send them over, and we're just going to use this Second Wave fleet to do all the fighting for us. Why are we sending the Alliance fleet out? Well, it has to do with our diplomatic weight. Right now, our diplomatic weight is on par with this Quenti Empire, which is obviously not great. We want to have as much weight as possible, which means that we want to lock in the enemies, well, at least our frenemies for now, and make sure that we can continue developing ourselves and that we get as much control of the economy as possible and stay in control of the hegemony forever. That's right. We want to stay in control of the hegemony as long as we can, preferably forever. And on top of that, we want to start leveling. Now, we can take a look here at our laws, because laws are very important in this particular thing. We haven't really talked about this stuff within the videos so far for federations, but this is really where the Hegemon start really shines. Now, secession type in this particular case is strongest. This means that the strongest empire, in this particular case with the diplomatic weight, will become the empire that, well, becomes the next guy in charge, which at the start of the game is fine. You can make sure that you have enough diplomatic weight or diplomatic power within your empire. And of course, that's where the envoys come in. You can apply those envoys to your federation. And with those envoys applied, you will have as much diplomatic weight as you need, which is where the Civic comes in as well. Now, obviously, we can base it off economy, technology, fleets. We can always change this around. But if we go further down, it's where stuff really gets interesting. Specifically, once diplomatic weight starts kicking in, or the war declaration. Specifically, the president decides, i.e. you decide. You want to invite members? The president decides. You want to kick members? The president decides. And specifically, the war declaration, the president decides, basically means that you can just send all the fleets of your hegemony to the enemy without them, well, at least the members, having any say in it. You are, in fact, slowly but steadily politically maneuvering your federation in order to become top dog, and there is no way in hell that anybody can do anything about it. But at some point, obviously, you've properly established yourself within the galaxy. You have got your hegemony. You are clearly the strongest power within said hegemony. And you've got these two little lumps just hanging off. What do you do at this point? How do you make things interesting? Because these guys are donating naval capacity to your Federation fleet. Without them, there is no Federation fleet. And of course, they are building them. Is it a good idea to keep them around? Let's take a look, shall we? So sooner or later, you will find yourself in a scenario where you've managed to unlock level 3, and as you can see, we get all of these Casus Belli at the top, and that all means that we can use the Hegemon Casus Belli on our neighbors, which is exactly what we're going to be doing. However, it's important that if we want to go for a Casus Belli and actually enact it, that we attack the enemy to a certain extent, but also take their systems. So, for instance, I would want to take this little cluster over here. It's got a world on it. Worlds are good. Worlds are economic and diplomatic power. And just make sure that they are left with maybe two systems so that they can work on what they have available to themselves, and that they can continue donating naval capacity to your Federation fleet, because the Federation fleet is life. I cannot say this enough. In this particular case, the Federation fleet is a little bit weak, but we can always improve all of that stuff. It is also important to note that unlike tributary or vassals, the Dominion members or the Hegemony members will not be donating any resources to you yet. That comes later on. For instance, at level 3, we get resource modifiers from pops, all pops by 5%. At level 2 as well. Level 4, we get a 2. So overall, we get a 15% pop bonus on top of our hegemony. And we also get, for instance, the fact that research agreements are no longer costing any influence. Federation influence gain, for instance, is a thing as well. And then also, of course, the last one, Federation modifier. Every member transfers 10% of their diplomatic weight to the president. And we always want to make sure that we are, in fact, the president. However, join or die is still the most important one, and at this stage we have actually unlocked it. So we are going to go to war with these guys over here, take a bunch of their systems by claiming them, of course, through the claim system. As you can see, I've claimed a couple of systems here. It's gonna pick up this one as well while I'm at it, and just go and declare war. It's easy, it's simple, and we're just gonna do it as they do not seem to be having any friends whatsoever, and we're just gonna go with that. And as you can see, establish hegemony, and they will be joining us very soon. And I'm the one that declares the wars, because I have decided that I am the one who can declare, in fact, the wars. Now, sooner or later, you will get into a position where you've effectively conquered the enemy territory. Let's speed this up and making sure that we're getting all of these systems under our control, because this Ruined Strategic Coordination Center is just absolutely yummy and is going to add even more fleet power to us in the late game. But at some point, we're going to be like, hey, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and achieve our war goals. We'll get a bunch of systems out of this.
Permanent communications have been established with an
the best possible outcome, of course, and we have taken a lot of additional territory, but at the same time have added this alien species within our hegemony, which adds all sorts of a cool additional flavor. As you can see, the entity is now by far the weakest in diplomatic weight within our empire, which is fine. It's something that we can deal with, but it does mean that we have more fleet power being added to our Federation fleet pretty much the entire time. And at this point, you can start making the decision. Am I going to say, for instance, take the next powerful empire, say the Panaxa Free Traders? They're starting to get a little bit uppity. They're starting to get a little bit tough. Well, we can just kick them from the Federation and then immediately claim their systems and take them. Oh yes, you can do that. You can take an enemy capital world incredibly quickly, completely and properly developed, and just take them in. Always just make sure that you have at least one other empire added within your hegemony to make sure that the hegemony survives and you can still use the CB, because that is really important. But at this point, the hegemony is getting so strong and completely rolling out of control that you can basically do whatever the hell you want. What are the neighbors doing? Well, probably not all that much. Let's claim some of their systems, a couple of their homeworlds, some of these guys, some of these guys, some of these guys, and as soon as that all is done, we go to war. We take the systems and at the same time turn them into a hegemony subject, pretty much at this point, because let's be fair, this is not a federation. This is a tributary system. And just keep on adding them, and every single one of them is going to add more and more and more fleet power to your almighty Federation fleet. And the best part is, the AI is going to build your Federation fleet for you. You don't have to deal with any of that stuff. You don't want to go to war? It's perfectly fine. Don't send your ships in. They just stay at home. Your gigantic home fleet that is generating all your diplomatic power in the galactic community, leave it at home. Send in the Federation fleet. Let them die in a horrible fire because your diplomatic power is king. Remember those envoys we had earlier on? Oh yes, we're going to assign them all to the galactic community and start pushing through all of our stuff. We're already the biggest, baddest member of the galactic community here. We're not going to leave. Absolutely not. We're autocrats. We're going to suppress the Xenos. They are going to be doing our bidding, and we are going to push through whatever the hell we want. I love this particular origin. It is beautiful. It adds so much flavor. It is fun. It really ties into the new diplomatic system in the game. And of course, the common ground origin is very similar in that respect. It's good fun. It's solid gameplay, and I highly recommend for you to go and play it, because this is some of the funnest stuff that I've had in Stellaris for quite some time. I hope that you enjoyed this video. For those of you who are still watching and are about to hear about my Patreon, my relationship with my wife is going really steady. She's currently sitting downstairs watching garbage British television about people that are losing weight. I'm not interested in that whatsoever. But still, if you want to, support the channel and make sure that I can continue to make videos and make sure that I stay the hell away from watching television with my wife, especially when it comes to these terrible British daytime TV shows, then that would be great. Feel free to go down into the description below and check out the Patreon if there's anything you like. Feel free to support. In addition, this particular origin is only part of Federations. If you like what you see here and you think, hey, this is good fun, this is better than those ring worlds or those habitats we saw earlier, I want to try this out, head over towards the Paradox store. There's a link down in the description below. You can buy the expansion there. I get a share of the profits. So not only are you directly supporting the developers, you're also supporting me, even though it's not the Patreon in this particular case, which is a good time. Until next time, take good care of yourselves, and as always, I am the Hegemon.